Planet Earth as we know it has around 8 billion people in it. That's a huge number. We have so far been the most successful species, and now, as of now, our planet cannot withstand the pressures we are throwing at it. But we're not going to discuss about the pollution or the activity aspects of human beings, but we are going to mainly speak about how our diet is having an impact on the planet. So, humans evolved, modern humans evolved some 200,000 years ago, and it was during the Holocene in which we, regained our stability. And we soon, learned ways from hunter-gathering into farming, and that has been one of our greatest transitions, we can say. But farming has got its impacts, When we started domesticating wildlife, we came, to selectively breed particular ones in which we favored, and protect them. So they no longer needed the horns or the bulky body in order to run away from predators or fight them. And as a result, we have, caused a catastrophic change in our planet as a whole. But before we get to that meat-based diet, let me talk about the ways in which the energy transition of different animals, different food chains take place, and how our teeth is different than that of, let's say, gazelles, or for example, that of a fox. So I've got a few specimens here. As you know, a herbivorous animal is one that eats plants, right? So here, for example, is an Arabian gazelle, right? And it was collected on December 11, 2020. It's a fairly adult gazelle. And these are its teeth. Premolars are right here, molars and incisors right here. However, the upper jaw does not have any teeth, and these are called the mouth pads in which they used to, eat the plants with. So they're mainly, these, and along with, let's say, cows and goats, they are used to, cutting clean off plants and branches and leaves, if you can see right here, right? So if we look at it, it's the teeth of a gazelle, for example, is very different to that of an Arabian red fox, right? Which is having larger incisors, larger canines, incisors in the front, 3 premolars and molars right here. So these are mainly used for catching and killing prey, used for gripping and tearing over flesh, not like that of a gazelle's, in which it was only used for crushing and mainly, cutting clean off plants. So because their prey is a fast moving item, you must be able to grip and in doing so kill their prey in an instant. Same goes for a skull of a domestic cat. We have got the same large canines here, incisors, premolars and molars, and they too must be able to grip and kill their prey in an instant. But that's not the reason why, let's say, the animals in which we see on our daily lives, we tell them from being rare to being common, or in which some of them which we are astonished to see. The reason is, the Arabian gazelle, among the Arabian gazelle's favorite food is this. Locals call it a sidr tree, and it is called a Christ's thorn, right? So the Arabian gazelles, when they, bite off the leaves and branches of those trees, even their fruits, not all of the food in which they eat is digested, right? The branches and the waste products, some products can be digested, will be passed out through feces and carbon dioxide from the animal's diet, right? So from the whole diet of plants, herbivores only gather 10% of the original energy in which the plant gathers from the sun. Only 10%, right? Now, that 10% is again being used for the gazelle to look for food, hide from predators, run away from predators. It's daily metabolism, you know. And so when a prey eats that gazelle, let's say if it's Arabian leopard, right? Again, a very minute fraction of that whole 10% energy is passed on to the leopard. So 10% of that 10% of energy. So just imagine how much, as we go forward in the food chain, the lesser and lesser the energy concentration becomes. Each time it is usually, you know, broken down by 10%, 10%, 10% as we move forward. That's why when we see a sparrow or a dog, we are not that much stunned, you know, but when we see an Arabian leopard or an eagle or an osprey, we are amazed looking at it, because we know that, you know, those animals are rare. They are not found that much, you know, because they're so scarce. There's so few numbers, because there's not much energy for them to, you know, function. So what group do we fall into? Well, of course, we don't fall in the carnivorous group, nor do we fall in the herbivorous group. We fall in the omnivorous group, right? Our teeth is different to that of a gazelle, or let's say a fox or a domestic cat. It is a combination of both. We are omnivores, right? But whenever I spoke about omnivores to many of the people around the world, they thought, well, omnivores means whatever you see you have to eat. That's wrong. When eating a food or diet, we have to once again think of the 10% energy that is transferred from plants to gazelles to, you know, the herbivores, the consumers, the predators and all those. The transition, you know. So to me, if you think of it, the most effective energy consumption, the most effective energy for us is the energy which we can gather from plants. Because again, the energy we get from animals mostly is wasted, you know. When a fox, for example, gets attacks a shovel duck, for example, it will not eat its feathers, it will not eat its skull, it will not eat its bones, it will only eat the meat. So again, once again, the bones and the tendons and all those extra stuff are wasted. We don't get that 100% energy from that 10% gathered by the shovel duck from the animals it ate, or the algae which it ate as well. So it is much more better if we eat, you know, plants. It's going to be much more effective energy for all of us, because, you know, the plants have got much more energy which you can get from them. So I hope you got the idea about how energy passes on in the food chain, you know. Each time the energy is divided until it reaches the topmost, where the energy is least concentrated and least used. That's why you don't see, you know, food chains being that vast on land, because it cannot be supported. In the sea, of course, there's a vast array of wild animals, so the food chain is much more longer. But again, a plant gathers energy from the sun. Some of the energy is used for its movement, let's say by active transport, right? And photosynthesis. While only a few of this energy is stored in the plant as food, right? That food which the gazelles eat, that plant which the gazelles eat, for example, is only 10% of the original energy gathered by the plant. Only 10%. And that 10% is used by the gazelle for metabolism, finding food, hiding from predators, socializing with its group, and much more, lost as heat, for example, in mammals. So from that 10% of that energy, it is again only 10% or less that is transferred to the predators that eat that gazelle. But once again, it's not a complete 10%, because the gazelle's bones are usually not eaten, the gazelle's tendons and hard parts are not eaten, it's only its meat, right? And again, those predators need to use that very minute 10% of that, you know, gazelle's 10% energy to find the gazelle, to run down the gazelle, to catch the gazelle, to socialize with its own groups, to you know, it loses energy as heat. So the loss of energy is extraordinary, you know. We ourselves have now been more of a carnivore than an omnivore, you know. We feed on all types of diets. Fish, shrimp, beef, mutton, you name it, whatever it is we eat. To most people may say we are omnivores. We are meant to eat different creatures. But that's wrong. We have to see which is more efficient, you know. And according to the food chains, the most efficient of all foods are plants, because we get more energy from them, right? If we are going to eat, let's say, beef, you know, we are not getting that original energy in which the beef ate. We don't eat the beef's bones, we don't eat the beef's extra parts, you know. And so a lot of energy is wasted. Apart from that, if we, you know, ignore energy, red meat itself is very dangerous. If we compare it to that of a plant, for example, it contains harmful fats, you know, unsaturated and saturated, difference of plants and animals. Of course, the animal fat cannot be digested properly, so it is stored. That's how it causes, you know, heart diseases and different type of cancers if we are not careful enough. But plants, however, they are much more useful, you know, they're useful for the health. They're broken down easily, they are stored better. They're used 100% and they have no harmful effect at all. While to animals, the effect is much more dangerous. They have got, the fats which they have got cannot be digested that easily, and they can result in all types of cancers and heart diseases and such. This also includes the diet of dairies as well. If I ask you to try, let's say, a cat milk or some other animal, you're going to be disgusted by it. But why cow? Have you seen any other animal eating by itself? But on an animal, let's say, have you seen a lion eating a gazelle milk? It won't work that way, right? We are meant to eat our own species, you know, juvenile fluid, or the fluid which is we need as juveniles, because it contains all the essential items in which a species needs, in which the juvenile needs to survive. A little bit less or more concentration of those nutrients can result in a catastrophe. And I mean, it is much more harder for us to digest dairy products. For example, most of us, including myself, are lactose intolerant, you know, because we cannot very well digest fats. And it is research on that eating or using dairy products can result in stomach cancer and much more. That's of course the diet region and our health, right? So red meat and these result in terrible health impacts that we cannot really, you know, escape from. But eating plants are much more healthier diet. And research has been done, it has been proven that plants itself can be made in a way that they smell and taste like meat. So we're not going to lose anything, but we're going to get a healthier lifestyle, you know. A place, if we adopt, you know, plant-based diet, we are going to open a new gate in which we can, you know, be able to have affordable food for everyone, healthier food for everyone. Now, you might ask, is veganism a choice? I mean, there are some nutrients that are only found in meat. That's what it has been brought up by many people to me. And well, plants can have those, you know, nutrients also as a substitute for those meat products. But again, if we have a balanced diet of, let's say, fish and shrimp and sea creatures in it, we're going to be on a safer side. We can transition slowly, but what we must do now is stop eating red meat. I myself have given up red meat for the past 6 years. My diet only includes mainly plants and fish and shrimp, which also slowly will transition into giving it up away. But you might ask, what's the big deal with you know, red meat? I mean, just do a little bit of research, you know. Cows and livestock release huge amounts of methane on a daily basis, even much more vast on a yearly basis. And this contributes extraordinarily to the effects of climate change. The past 8 years have anyways been the hottest years on record. It's going to get much worse. and our livestock are going to be a huge impact, 96% of the mass of mammals on our planet are us and the livestock that we have domesticated. Only 4% are other animals. Just imagine the amount. I mean, it is believed that there are more livestock on the planet than even humans, right? So, apart from releasing a huge amount of methane, the sad thing is that plants like trees and other species of shrubs and all get that methane, get that greenhouse gas and use it in their process of photosynthesis. They capture carbon and lock it in themselves in the soil. But in order to build farms for feeding our livestock, for keeping our livestock, we clear hectares and hectares of forests and different ecosystems, thus reducing our allies to fight against climate change. I mean, the choice is all ours, We can choose. We can either be a fox, we can be a gazelle, right? Or we can be humans. We can choose our diet. We can choose a healthier diet. Healthier both for ourselves and the planet. And in doing so, we won't, head our planet towards extinction.